This presentation will introduce interpersonal communication, which involves engagement between people, how they behave, what they disclose, and their expectations. In addition, as we explore interpersonal communication, we will learn about the stages of relational development. As defined by communication scholars, interpersonal communication involves an ongoing interdependent association between two or more people. Different from an acquaintance or someone you may recognize, interpersonal relationships demonstrate a kind of longevity or consistent pattern of interaction. Mark Knapp, professor of communication at the University of Texas, developed the stages of relational development concept, which illustrates the national progression of relational development. Here are some examples of dialogue that may be familiar to you. I feel so much a part of you. Yeah, we're like one person. What happens to you happens to me. So what is this stage? Is it initiation, integration, experimentation, intensification, or bonding? What do you think? In this section, I will review the stages. First is initiating. This involves first impressions. At this point, you decide whether or not to move forward. Next is experimenting, which is getting to know each other. Then you have the intensifying stage. At this point, you develop rituals, favorite things to do, and may have inside jokes. This stage is followed by integrating. When you begin to mirror each other's likes and dislikes, you merge social circles, designate common property, and share values. Lastly is the bonding stage, which can be symbolic of engagement or marriage. This image represents the culminating stage of bonding, when the persons involved decide to make a commitment. As a result of interpersonal communication, the interpersonal relationships that ensue have an important role in our lives. They satisfy a range of human needs: the need for inclusion or becoming involved with others, the need for affection or holding a fond or tender feeling toward another person, the need for control or the ability to influence others. Other reasons include proximity, social attractiveness, responsiveness, which is the idea that we tend to select our friends or loved ones from people who demonstrate positive interest in us. Whatever is the attracting condition that jumpstarts a relationship, we classify two types of relationships: complementarity and symmetrical relationships. As with most things that are initiated, if the goal is to move forward, then the engagement must be nurtured in order for the relationship to prosper and develop. Otherwise, you'll see on the next slide. Relational maintenance refers to strategies established by individuals in a relationship for the purpose of keeping the relationship together. During this stage, tensions or dialectical tensions surface that need to be addressed in order to maintain the relationship moving in a positive direction. Not dealing with difficult or sensitive situations can stifle the relationship in any situation. Remember that interpersonal relationships can involve friends, family, acquaintances, as well as professional networks. Dialectical tensions reflect opposites such as integration and separation, stability and change, or expression and privacy. These contradictions offer the idea that each person in the relationship might have two opposing desires for maintaining the relationship. The image you see reflects the coming apart of a relationship that suggests warning signs may have been ignored. In addition to the 5 stages of relational development reviewed, there are also 5 stages of deterioration that we will cover in a separate presentation. As you can see, what goes up does come down if neglected. Let's discuss briefly 2 theories that are important in developing a more solid understanding of interpersonal communication. First is the uncertainty reduction theory, which applies to most people, and it reflects a desire to minimize feeling out of place wherever we are. In other words, when first meeting someone, for example, people seek to reduce the uncertainty they have about the other person. Secondly, there is the social penetration theory that deals with the impact of self-disclosure on relationships. According to authors Altman and Taylor of Social Penetration and the Development of Interpersonal Relationships, the social penetration theory explains how relationships develop and deteriorate through the exchange of intimate information. In other words, communication moves from relatively shallow, non-intimate levels to deeper, more personal ones. No matter what we do, interpersonal communication is a part of our daily routines. Being an effective communicator can serve well in your personal, academic, or professional life, but it begins with developing an understanding of interpersonal communication and how ongoing interactions with others can develop and affect choices we make along the way.